Hello and welcome to All Things Doctor Who. As you can possibly tell, I am not Aaron. I am Samuel Lewis from WHOTUBE Gallifrey02, and in this video I will be counting down the top 5 Third Doctor stories as played by Jon Pertwee. So without further ado, let's begin. So at number 5 we do have the 10th anniversary of Doctor Who. This is the Three Doctors. Now the Three Doctors is the 10th anniversary of Doctor Who, and it is such a fantastic story. It introduces us to a fantastic villain, Omega. It's the first multi-Doctor story, and yeah, it's a really good story. It's the last of the Third Doctor stories where the Doctor is exiled on Earth. So much happens in this story. We see William Hartnell's return, we see Patrick Troughton's return, we see the first time Patrick Troughton and William Hartnell in colour. So many great things happen in this story, and is one of my favourite Jon Pertwee stories. So at number 4 we do have the Daemons. Now the Daemons is a fantastic story in my opinion, full of gothic horror, and yeah, it's a really good story. Does predict the future, as BBC Three is mentioned in this, and it is in 1971, and BBC Three wasn't introduced until 2003, I think. So yeah, Doctor Who predicts the future in this story, and yeah, lots of good things happen in it. Last of season 8, we have the Master. And yeah, really good story in my opinion, some great scenery, some great drama, and some fantastic dialogue. At number 3, we do have Inferno. A lot of people say this is one of the greatest Doctor Who stories ever, and I can't agree more. Inferno is absolutely amazing, but not my favourite Jon Pertwee story. There are 2 stories in front of this. So Inferno, a magnificent 7-part Doctor Who story. Really, it is absolutely amazing. The first time the Doctor travels to a parallel world, I love to see all the different characters in the parallel world. The Brigadier is fantastic, a really strong plot, and yeah, love Inferno, a very good story in my opinion. Then at number 2, we have Jon Pertwee's first story as the Third Doctor. Now this is Spearhead from Space. Now Spearhead from Space is absolutely fantastic. Introduction to the Autons, introduction to the Third Doctor, introduction to the Third Doctor's era. Yeah, this story is the first of quite a lot of things, and I find this story very good indeed. The first colour story, the first story of the 70s. Yeah, an amazing story in my opinion, a great watch, and I would strongly recommend Spearhead from Space. So before we get to number 1, let's count down some honourable mentions. So honourable mention number 3, we do have Ambassadors of Death. Now Ambassadors of Death is another 7-part epic. It is absolutely amazing and very underrated as well. Ambassadors of Death doesn't get a lot of praise, and I would strongly recommend this story. Honourable mention number 2, we have got The Claws of Axos. Now The Claws of Axos is another amazing story which I absolutely adore, but sadly hasn't made it to my top 5. Claws of Axos, an amazing story, and yeah, also has some good cover art in my opinion. Looks a lot more like a Target book rather than a DVD cover. And honourable mention number 1, we do have Frontier in Space. Now Frontier in Space is an absolutely amazing story. It's all building up to Planet of the Daleks, and I think it's a fantastic build-up. Then it's kind of spoilt by Planet of the Daleks. But other than that, I think Frontier in Space has a very strong plot. There's a lot of action in this story, and yeah, it's sadly Roger Delgado's last story as playing the Master, which is kind of sad. But yeah, it's his last story. Introduction to the Draconians, the return of the Ogrons, and most importantly, the return of the Daleks. So what has made it to number 1? What is my favourite Third Doctor story? At number 1, we do have The Green Death. Now, The Green Death is an absolutely cracking story in my opinion. Jo Grant's last appearance, and I think it's an absolutely magnificent send-off for Jo Grant. A really great story in my opinion. The effects aren't very good, but other than that I think it has a very good plot, and yeah, an amazing story in my opinion. And yeah, very good acting from Jon Pertwee, very good acting from Jo Grant, and yeah, very good unit strong story as well. And yeah, that concludes my list for my top 5 Jon Pertwee stories as the Third Doctor. Please let me know what your favourite Jon Pertwee story is in the comments below. And yes, please go and check out WHOTUBE Gallifrey02. The link will be in the description below. On WHOTUBE Gallifrey02, I post top 10s, top 5s, Doctor Who reviews, Doctor Who discussions, Doctor Who collection updates, and much, much more. So please go and check out WHOTUBE Gallifrey, and please subscribe to All Things Doctor Who. So until the next time, which will be hosted by Aaron from All Things Doctor Who, goodbye.